What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope all is well with you. Guys, now listen, I gotta start off by saying that I don't get a big kick about talking about what could be perceived as political issues on this channel. You guys know I talk about a lot of geek stuff, a lot of nerd stuff, and of course I sprinkle in my social commentary here and there. But I've always made the point that it's one and the same, honestly. It's like what I talk about in terms of these geek spaces and everything, it goes right back to the social climate that we find ourselves in, because these people, whether you want to admit it or not, they are using our TV shows, our movies, even our comic books to push their political agendas. It cannot be denied. 10, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you could open up a comic and you wouldn't see same-sex, just taking, center stage. You know what I mean? Like, you had gay characters. Like, in Alpha Flight, you had North Star, I believe his name was, and you had others who, I think he might have been the first openly gay superhero in comics, North Star of Alpha Flight. But there were others, there were others after him. But it didn't take front and center stage the way it is now. Unfortunately, you cannot introduce your kids to the comics that we grew up with because it has to come with a disclaimer. You have to be ready to sit down with them and kind of like explain things to them and talk to them about these types of things. Now, talking to your kids is not bad, but I'm just saying, people are using these things to inject their views into it. So you almost have to run interference because their views might not be your views. You know what I mean? So this is the reason why I really don't make the distinction between talking about what could be perceived as political issues and also our little geek things. You know what I mean? Because it's all part of the same these days, especially. Especially one of the things that I talked about, as a so-called black geek, is that it seems like our views and opinions are totally disregarded. Like, they look over us. And you guys know this is nothing new. I've been talking about this from the very beginning. Nobody talks to us. Nobody even talks at us. They talk for us. And to me, that is the height of disrespect. So whenever I see these characters, these black characters, and they want to introduce them and everything, of course, I'm going to put them under that extra scrutiny because I know that somebody is making an assumption for the so-called black community. If it was up to me, I would just say that we're all human beings. But of course, you can't deny what you see in front of you, right? Whether it doesn't make you good or bad, it just is what it is, right? And I am proud to be who I am. I'm proud to be what I am. Don't get it twisted. Okay, so the point is that this is what I noticed. So, of course, it kind of goes hand in hand with what we see in this election cycle, guys. You will see the parallels. Now, I want to talk to you guys today about the lovely, talented, intelligent Michaelah Montgomery. Who is Michaelah Montgomery, you might ask? Well, obviously, she's the beautiful sister in the thumbnail, but also Montgomery, she has a background, and I'm going to read this here, right? And I'm going to read this off of, what is this website anyway? This is haor.org. I wonder what it stands for. I should look that up. I'll do that on my time. But anyway, who is Michaelah Montgomery? Michaelah Montgomery is a former Georgia Republican Party staffer. Okay, I said the R word, the other R word. So, of course, once again, for a lot of black people out there, too many, not all, but too many, that's the immediate turnoff. That's the deal breaker. That's the brick wall. Republican. Michaelah Montgomery is a former Georgia Republican Party staffer and coordinator for Conserve the Culture. She captured the attention of the crowd at a Trump rally in Atlanta on August 3rd. Her appearance came in the wake of controversial remarks made by former President Donald Trump about Vice President Kamala Harris, which had sparked significant media coverage. Montgomery, who has a background in mobilizing HBCU students around conservative ideas, was introduced by Trump towards the end of his speech at the Georgia State University Convocation Center. Trump shared the story of how he met Montgomery earlier in the year at a restaurant, where she recognized him and thanked him for his support of historically black colleges and universities. A lot of people don't really give Trump a lot of credit for that. They love to say that Kamala went to a historically black university. Trump actually funded them when they were in trouble. And I remember that story years ago. I remember thinking all of the professionals that came out of these historically black colleges and universities, all of the professionals who were doing great, why are these universities now struggling? Why are they not going back to help them? Why are all of these celebrities just leaving like they're just ass out? Why? You know? However, it turns out that Donald Trump, you're racist. It's a fact. He's the one, or one of the ones, one of the primary ones who bailed them out. Okay? It's just a fact, guys. I know you don't like to hear this, but one of the reasons why I'm here is to offer balance, okay? Because personally, I don't like being lied to, and I don't like you being lied to. Now, if you want to be intentionally or willfully ignorant, then that's a choice that you make. But I'm putting it out there for you to know, okay? She looks at me, says, "It's President Trump. You saved my college," Trump recalled, describing her as so smart, so sharp. The two shared a lighthearted moment, with Montgomery laughing off the former president's joke about keeping their interactions a secret. And I don't know if that was much of a joke, bruh. You know Trump. The former president praised Montgomery as incredible and predicted a tremendous future for her, offering his assistance before handing her the microphone. So after that, it says here that Montgomery seized the moment to emphasize the importance of spreading conservative messages beyond echo chambers. As the founder of Conserve the Culture, she highlighted her commitment to engaging HBCU students in the conservative movement, underscoring the need for more inclusive outreach. Her impassioned speech resonated with the audience as she questioned their dedication to the cause and urged them to stand firm in their beliefs. Her message was clear. The conservative movement must reach beyond its traditional base to make a lasting impact. Okay? With the crowd's enthusiastic support, Montgomery's presence on stage solidified her role as a rising voice within the conservative community. All right. So the rally, they say, it took place just days after Trump faced criticism for comments he made about Vice President Harris at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention. Okay. So that's what we got. That's a little bit of a summary of who Michaelah Montgomery is. And once again, like what I talk about, like how I was saying on my very last video, and the point that I've been making for years, Michaelah is being met with a lot of pushback, primarily, not just only, but primarily with the black community, too many of the black community, and of course also the liberal whites, the American Society of Magical Liberals. Of course, they're coming after her as well. And they're questioning her credentials as of just a black person, you know, and that's the funky thing about that, guys, is that just having the wrong type of thought pattern can get your blackness questioned. Now, black people, how do you not see how this is problematic? Should you not have the ability to think the way that you want to think? We talk about a woman's right to choose. What about a woman's right to even think? You know what I mean? That's the problem, by the way, that I have with abortion, not to go off the track too much. A woman, of course, has the right to do what she wants to do with her body, but she should be informed so that she knows how to process what she's doing, how to think about what she's doing, all of the pros and the cons and the long-term effects that come from that, not just the physical effects. I know somebody who had massive scarring, who forevermore had a problem conceiving, you know, a child when she wanted to. Right? Not just that, but also the emotional and psychological long-term effects that you get from having an abortion. Nobody talks about that. Okay? But anyway, she's being met with a pushback by too many of the black community and, of course, the American Society of Magical Liberals. So she was recently on a talk show. I don't know if this was MSNBC or something like that. And I just want to play for you what she was faced with or how she was approached. All right. As a thinking black woman and as thinking black women in the audience, you tell me, is this something that you're cool with, that you can have the very core, the very fiber of your being questioned simply because you don't think the way people want, almost demand for you to think? All right. Listen to this, guys.
They're never gonna let you in the club, okay? And you like the movie Django. You are the character of Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know the exact like terminology, but like not Uncle Tom, but like Uncle Tommy, or like you were a complete sellout.
First of all, it sounded like that was a non-black person telling me that.
All right, first of all, let me just say this, right? What the guy started off saying, and I'm not even sure who she's talking to. It doesn't even matter because these voices are all over the place. What the guy is saying almost immediately, they're never gonna let you into the club. You're just a Sambo. You're what is it, Uncle Ruckus? You know, you're just the Samuel Jackson character in the Django. Why would you disrespect that woman that way? And it sounds familiar to me, of course, because that's what I have to deal with. That's what I've had to deal with in this fandom from day one, where people would tell me, you're just trying to be like those other guys. You're trying to be like those white guys. They're never going to let you into the club. And whenever I go on one of these, one of my brother's streams, who happen to be white and everything, I can be sure that I'm going to be called a token. I can be sure that they're going to tell me that they're never going to accept me. They're never going to let me in, as if this is like exclusively theirs. You know what I mean? This is the reason why, like I said before, that these channels, these other channels, in part, I mean, they work hard, all due respect, but that's the reason why they have a much easier time blowing up in these spaces than black creators do. Because for some reason, there's this feeling that it's a white world. It's their world. It's white privilege. It's white supremacy. That's the problem with that terminology, because it gets into your mind. Even worse, it gets into your children's minds. And they think that they don't even have a place in this world. They have to be let in somewhere. Somebody has to accept them somewhere. But I go from the assumption that it's my world, it's my life, it's my reality. I like what I like, I do what I do, I think what I think, and I'm free to do these things, and I express the things that I express. Now you hear Michaelah Montgomery being faced with the same thing on a political stage. This is the reason why I say I don't have a problem talking about these things, because they cross over. It's the same thing. And I tell my black creators out there, I know a lot of you don't like to talk about political issues, you don't like to talk about serious issues, you like to keep everything light, but we're not there yet, man. That's the thing. I want us to be there. I want us to be there where we can do these things. That's the reason why I'm talking about it now and others are talking about it, because I want our kids to have that audacity to think that it's their world too, right? But if we ignore it, if we don't talk about it, they're going to be saddled with the same burdens that we were, where we get called tokens, where we get called Sambos and Uncle Toms and Coons solely because of the way that we think. That's what they're going to have to deal with. So yeah, I'm ready to take that smoke because I don't want my son to have to go through it. I want people to see him and know that you can't assume what he thinks. You can't assume what his political or spiritual or philosophical feelings are. You have to get to know him as a human being, not just as a skin color that you can assume that you know what the fuck he stands for before he even opens up his mouth. There is nothing more aggravating than that, when someone just looks at you and thinks they know everything about you. I go on some of these streams, and in the comment section, here's the black guy. Oh, he's the black guy. Here come the black comments. That's all they see. I'm just the black guy. I'm that dude. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I'm ashamed to be who I am, but I'm just saying we've gotten ourselves in a position where people think that they can speak for us, they can define us, and that is not healthy. And I'm tired of people not understanding that and not seeing it. And yeah, I'm willing to be your fucking coon if that's what it takes for you to understand and listen and respect the individual thought patterns of people who look like you. Everyone's got to think the same. Otherwise, you're a coon. And that's what Michaelah just faced. All right, let me just bring it back real quick.
They're never gonna let you in the club, okay? And you like the movie Django. You are the character of Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know the exact like terminology, but like not Uncle Tom, but like Uncle Tommy, or like you were a complete sellout.
First of all, it sounded like that was a non-black person telling me that. So as a Democrat, that sounds pretty racial and pretty divisive.
Here she go.
Next, it's very interesting that I, again, would be called names or be compared to fictional characters because of who I choose to support. Again, these people who are calling and making these derogatory statements about me, who I choose to support, are denying the fact that, again, who are you to tell me that my personal experience is invalid? I think that that's something that a lot of Democrats need to look within, because how have you tried? Kamala Harris is in office right now and has not tried to do anything about the border, has not tried to not tax people on tips, and has not tried to do anything about our failing education system. So everything that she's promising she can do for you on day one, she could do right now, but she's not trying to. So that's something to just, for some Dems to take home. So are you telling me that with all the black wealth that exists here in Atlanta, with all the black millionaires that live here in Atlanta, why in the world do 92% of APS students are illiterate? Make it make sense. And we have Democratic mayors, we have Democratic city council members, we have Democratic commissioners, and for whatever reason, 92% of the kids here cannot read. That statistic did not...
Okay, all right. All due respect, I cut her off because I'm going to leave the link to that in the pinned comment below so you can check it out yourself. Among other things, this woman is very much on point, and she's got a lot to say. So I do encourage you all to go and look her up. But see, this is the thing, guys. A lot of you will see this, and you'll come back in the comment section talking about, Trump. Trump. You think Trump cares about you? Well, you think... Bro, listen. This is not an endorsement of anybody, okay? I'm at best considered a micro influencer with the amount of subs that I have and everything. My endorsement means nothing. If I told you that I was voting for Kamala Harris, it wouldn't mean anything. If I told you I was voting for President Trump, it wouldn't mean anything. This is the reason why you have voting booths the way you do. It protects your anonymity. You know what I mean? So vote how you want, but at least give yourself the credit or the respect, the dignity of finding out what's really true out here. Because the next 4 years, right, that would mean that this administration has had 8 years, over 8 years to do what it is that they're doing. Another 4 years of failing students, failing schools. Another 4 years of not being able to buy a home for the first time. Another 4 years of barely being able to make ends meet. Another 4 years of worrying about your job. These people have to be held accountable for that. They have to be. I don't care who it is. If it was Donald Trump that was in office, I would be saying the same thing, right? But we have the right to question these things. Another 4 years of gender confusion. Another 4 years of absolute fucking insanity. Another 4 years of unstable borders and unstable relations with other countries. Another 4 years. Do you feel confident in letting our beautiful young people grow up and not know what's facing them as young adults as far as the stability of our country is concerned? These jokers are treating it like it is a game, What about how we handle pandemics in the future? All right, math and reading scores are way down because they shut down schools. They went to virtual learning. Some people say they might be about to do the same thing because of the monkeypox. You know what I mean? We can't survive. We cannot be sustained if we continue doing the things that we're doing. Someone has got to talk to us. Someone has got to tell us something different, right? So when you get a personality like Michaelah Montgomery, and she's on the stage, and you hear what black people, how they're receiving her. All right, let's take this for example, right? The Root. You guys know my friends over at The Root. I love to talk about The Root. The biggest exercise in fucking hypocrisy ever would be The Root and how they go about their business, right? Let's talk about, right? And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to go by headlines and maybe the opening statements, right? All right, this is The Root talking about Michaelah Montgomery in part, right? And this is the headline. Here's the black woman behind Trump's ignorant Chick-fil-A appearance. Trump has increased his attention toward black voters, and his Atlanta visit to the popular fast food chain was his latest attempt at outreach. Former President Donald Trump has attempted to ratchet up his public appeal to black voters in recent months as black support for President Joe Biden continues to soften. Obviously, this was written before Joe Biden dropped out of the race. In his most recent attempt to bond with black voters, Trump visited an Atlanta Chick-fil-A on his way to a fundraiser event on April 10th. And it turns out a black woman orchestrated the whole thing. Notice how long it took them to get to her name. Michaelah Montgomery, a black conservative activist, told the Associated Press that she coordinated a group of black students to meet with Trump at the Chick-fil-A for the photo op. Okay, so they called it ratchet, or he's ratcheting it up. You know, they danced around it. You know, she's a black woman. Here's the black woman behind Trump's ignorant Chick-fil-A appearance. Now, compare and contrast how they talked about Kamala Harris's rally, right, with Megan V Stallion, the male horse. How Atlanta fell in love with Kamala Harris. With the opening performance from Megan Thee Stallion, the event was set to be one for the books. Now, keep in mind, the other one, they said they used the word ratchet over there, right? When you're just talking about an educated, beautiful, well-spoken, passionate black woman, Michaelah Montgomery. But when you're talking about Megan V Stallion, who is twerking on a world stage for everyone to see, yada, 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 talking about her pussy, that is one for the books. What was scheduled as just another political rally quickly turned into a once-in-a-lifetime experience for Atlanta residents and visitors alike. It wouldn't be an ATL event if the stars didn't show up and show out. And musical artists like Megan Thee Stallion and Quavo took the stage to show their support for Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign for the Oval Office. Yay! Oh, yay! You see what I'm saying? It's ridiculous, man. It blows my fucking mind. This is what we're talking about. There's just one way to be, one way to think, or you're an Uncle Tom, or you're a coon, or you're a Sambo, and all too often, that other way is the way that you should be going, because that's the way of independent and informed thought. But they don't want that. Black people, black women, black men, this should be the biggest wake-up call this election cycle, how they see you. Look at your inner cities. Look at the conditions of our children. Look at it. Look at it. And ask yourself, is it not the biggest insult that these people are coming to us the way they are? Actually, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that they even still reach out to us. I thought we would have been irrelevant by now with all of the immigrants who are coming in and them enabling them to do the things that they do. Sooner or later, we are going to be irrelevant. Black men, we're already irrelevant. Notice on that journalist convention, there were no black men on that stage. Nobody cares about what we think and what we feel. That's the reason why a lot of black men are starting to drift over to Trump, because we can't take 4 more years of this irrelevancy. We can't take 4 more years of this exploitation, of this estrangement from our women, from our families. We're ready for a change. And all Kamala Harris and her administration have demonstrated, all Obama has demonstrated, all Joe Biden has demonstrated, is it's going to be more of the same. We need something different. We need something new. This is the reason why we're looking in places we never looked at before. It only makes sense. We cannot continue to do the things the way that we've been doing them. That way leads destruction. And I don't even think we have 4 more years to keep fucking around with that. All right? So there it is, guys. I just want to say that all of this talk about, encourage and respect and protect black women, and they put that on Kamala Harris. I'm saying that I support, I respect, I protect voices like Michaelah Montgomery. I respect and protect voices like Candace Owens. Yes, I said it because I don't have to agree with 100% everything that these women say, but I do respect the fact that they are free thinking, they are critical thinking, and they express themselves in a way that's more than just emotional outbursts and fear mongering. All right. So for whatever sliver of influence that I might have, I wouldn't tell you who to vote for. I wouldn't even tell you what to think. I'm just here to tell you to think. All right, let's try that. And I'm talking to myself as well, because I found myself on that thought plantation as well. And I realized I can't be a responsible and an effective parent being this way, because I'm supposed to be looking towards the future, and I can't do that if I have someone shaming me all the time into doing and thinking what they want. And I critically see that I'm getting very little in return for that investment. All right, guys. That's my very long-winded feeling about all of this. We're going on 25 minutes. If you lasted till the end of this, sound off in the comment section. Let me know that you did. 25, just put it there. All right, guys. That's it. I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you for listening. You can like, you can share, you can subscribe. If you want to donate to the channel, of course, you can go to the super thanks on each and every one of my videos. I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.